So, what's up? This is Robert from Existence First.
Hi, my name's Kyra. I don't have a name for my business, but I help reprogram the human mind.
Yeah. So, I met Kyra here at this conference, Grant Cardone's 10X Growth Conference. We're here in Las Vegas. We just finished, this is the symbol for 10, right? 10,
Yeah.
10X is branding. So we just finished day 2, it's Saturday, and I'm already just overwhelmed with how much knowledge has come out. I mean, we saw some high-level speakers. We saw John Travolta today, Usher. Yesterday we saw the guy that was like the manager for Justin Bieber, like very high-level business people. Magic Johnson. And it's really neat because you think, oh, Magic Johnson, you think basketball. And then you hear Usher, you think music, right? But what all these people have in common is that Grant really admires them and admires their business ability. So this is a business conference, but there's so much self-help, just like self-help, personal growth, personal development, wrapped into it. And so that's how we got into conversation, right? And it turns out that that we're both into self-help, and we actually have very similar perspectives on the mind. So, I mean, our conversations could go on forever and ever. I just want to at least capture a little bit, maybe 10, 20 minutes or whatever, of this back and forth conversation we're having, because it's so great and it's so, like, we're really tapping into some truths here, you know? I think this is, like, if we can, like, see into the future, like, 20 years from now, people will be, I know people will be working with the mind the way that we're thinking about and talking about it today in
100%.
2020. This video is being made in 2020. So for everyone watching in, let's say, 2040 or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is where it started, this whole mind stuff, right? Then you know this was the video. So, all right, with that being said, I'm going to pass it to you, and I'd like to hear kind of what your thoughts and reflections are so far on all of this great stuff we've been hearing.
There's been so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been to growth conferences before. I love growth conferences, but obviously every single one is different, and every single one has its different sort of vibe to it. And Grant Cardone is, the fact that you said Grant Cardone admires them. So obviously Grant Cardone, there's something in these people because Grant Cardone sees it. And, you know, like you said, Magic Johnson, you think basketball. Usher, you think music. But when you actually take a look at what got them there and into who they are today, it takes everything that we teach. And if I'm being honest, I'm going to toot my own horn here, I think that they could still even use our help. I mean, seeing how happy they are, but I can still see something inside of them that needs a little bit of help. And I truly feel like, because earlier we were talking about, because you said that psychologists, and we were talking about psychologists, and I've talked to psychotherapists and psychologists and things like that, and it seems like they know like the know-how on how to do it, but they haven't done it themselves. So for a mind coach to step in to a celebrity's life like that, a famous person's life like that, and be able to see things that not many people could see and be able to show them how to deal with that, I think that would be absolutely amazing. And I think that the best speaker today was John Travolta, because of his, I mean, the entire vibe changed when he got into the room, and it was like this sweet flower, like amazing, humble, confident energy. What did you get from John?
Yeah, I mean, all those things. To tie us together with what you're saying about could a celebrity benefit from a mind coach, right? A mind coach, let's say, who's not a celebrity. I think the answer is yes. How that exactly what that exactly would look like maybe is a different question. But what that made me think of is this concept of humility. And we came across that. Which speaker was that? I think Usher, Grant said that Usher was humble. I forgot which specific speakers. Scooter was definitely humble. And so, just now you mentioned this thing about, psychologists, right?
Yeah.
Which, if you guys are watching my other videos, you know that, I've worked with people at many levels, educated at the PhD level, educated at the master's degree level, bachelor's, and the high school degree level. And what I can say is that the people that get the best results in my field are the best communicators. It's not the person that has the PhD. It's not the person with the master's. It's not the person with bachelor's. Exactly. It's the person with the best communication skills. It's the person that's aware of their levels of tension. I can point out PhDs that are extremely tense, and their tension causes the client to become tense, right? So, and for me to be witnessing this, now I see what's going on, the truth of the exchange of energy that's happening, right? Because this energy is invisible. I know we've been talking about that too, right? And so I feel like it's my whole task to make this invisible thing visible, like gravity, like we can't really see it. We see the manifestations of it, right? We see kind of how it works, right? But once you actually use it, calculate things from it, then you can create airplanes, you can create rockets, right? Now, what if we could do the same with the human mind? Actually capture this energy, or actually put it into equation form, right? And then just and then use that to, I guess the end goal would be human excellence. I mean, everybody in that stadium, over 12,000 people, I think Grant said, in that stadium, yeah. And so everybody in there wants to be better. They want to make improvements. They want to achieve goals, which raises this big question of okay, then what is the obstacle? Why is there this one John Travolta on the stage, or this one Usher, right? These people that are leaders in their field. Why isn't everybody doing that? There's so many. I just opened up so many cans that I'm already okay. All right, put them back in the fridge. I just opened up so many things. I don't know if you have any reactions or thoughts. I could pass it to it.
I definitely do. Your answer to why they are not everybody is there is because not everybody wants it that bad. And it's true, when you want something, you have to trade in all of your old thoughts, all of your old frequencies, all of your old feelings, all of your old friends, all of your old perceptions of your friends, all of your old perceptions of everything. You have to trade. You basically, oh my gosh, this is actually one of my favorite things in the world. When people think selling your soul to the devil, right? They think that that's how famous people became famous, and that's why they have all of these fame and fortune. But in reality, selling your soul to the devil is staying locked in that cage that we were talking about. The devil and the reprogramming that got you in this cage. And you're in this cage, and when you break free, you've actually retrieved your soul from the devil, and you're back out there getting what you want, changing your perspectives, changing your reprogramming, all of that. And if you don't let go of all of your reprogramming, it's hard. I mean, I'm 23 years old, and I've been programmed for 21 years of my life. And for people who even find out when they're 70 years old or 40 years old, you've been programmed like that for 40 fucking years. Excuse my language. It's going to take some time. You've got to work at it. You've got to retrieve your soul back, and you've got to go for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of rust on it,
What do you think about that?
Shake that off. It reminds me of the conversation we had. I think it was at lunchtime about the soul or the mind of you when you are, let's say, to the viewers, whoever's watching this, right? Imagine your soul, your mind at age 5, right? And imagine what wasn't there. That is in your mind now, in terms of Some of it might be, some of that would, of course, would be good, maybe bad, or whatever, you can label it however you want. But the word that I used that you kind of caught your attention earlier was contamination, right? And
Yes.
so what I see more and more as I work with people, as I study self-help, as I examine my own self, is that, right now, our brains are just, like, the adult brain is so complex. I mean, if you think about all the things on this planet, right? It's more complex than this pillow here. It's more complex even than, it's more complex than a lot of things, right? The human brain. That allows for a lot of thoughts. Now, what happens when you have a species walking the planet that has a brain capable of handling many, many thoughts, especially abstract ones? Well, that opens the door for self-doubt, self-limitation, right? And kind of like you just said, it comes on, I think, through conditioning, right? And if we could actually see, the hard part is it's invisible, right? So you have to see, right? So you're only going to see the manifestation. What you would see is an 8-year-old that is a little more quiet than that's the 5-year-old version of that same person. And it's like, you're a little more quiet now at age 8 than you were at age 5. What happened, right? And then if you were to kind of dig deeper, you might find out that there were negative influences. There was a bully in that school that when that person was age 6 was saying, hey, you're going to be, you're nothing, blah, 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 or a negative influence from an adult, who knows. But as we go through life, now we're allowing in all of these, like, negative things, right? The limitations, the doubts.
Yeah.
And then we carry them with us, but without kind of being aware, right? That it's there. It's slowing us down, but we're not kind of, like, aware of it. That's how I'm currently thinking about self-help right now, is I look at it from a developmental, I guess you would say, perspective, of, like, I ask myself, okay, I showed up to this conference, I'm trying to grow, blah, 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 right? Is it growth? Because a plant can grow, but also part of landscaping is pruning and cutting out the dead stuff, right? Removing the garbage, removing that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I'll pass it to you if you have a thought.
No, but of course I'm smiling because I completely agree. I mean, a plant can't grow if you're keeping the dead stuff on it. You've got to, pick the deadies off and allow the plant to grow. Now, I really liked the point that you made about the 5-year-old and then the 8-year-old being a little bit more quiet. When you're growing older, you're supposed to be more energetic, more enthused about life and things like that. And the reason that happens is because when we're born, we're brought up by these people. And let's just say, I'm not saying anything bad about parents here or anything like that, but if your parents weren't taught how to grow up, how are they going to teach you how to grow up? They can't. They're going to do the best they can with the knowledge that they have. So if a little kid is in the room and the little kid wants to run near the table and then scream out that they like that person's hat that just walked in, and their mom or their dad is like, no, don't do that. No. You grow up and you start hearing that, and then which brings on that little box, hence the more quiet 8-year-old, because it's been told no so many freaking times. And like we were talking about earlier, raise your hand in class. I think was that yeah. So like they start to get programmed by this, and they don't realize that they are in control of their mind because nobody ever taught them. So the whole 40-year thing, 2040, I mean, kids need to be programmed to understand the human mind. I believe that schools are going to be shut down. I believe that new schools are going to be open. I see I see a vegan world. I see so much stuff in the future that, not everyone can see because they're not unprogrammed yet. So, like, what would you say that we as mind coaches would be able to do for those people who don't understand how to grow up and don't understand that we are in charge of our human minds? Like,
I think it begins with awareness. I mean, I think we gotta give just a minor background point. How when we first started talking, right, in the stadium thing or whatever, and I was like, oh, so what do you do? And you're like, oh, I'm a mind coach. And I'm like, get out. Because that's exactly what's on my business card is mind coach, right? So that's what you're referencing there, is what can we do as mind coaches? Now, you said your question was, what can we do for mind coaches for the people who don't see how the conditioning is affecting them? Is that what you're asking?
yes.
Well, shoot, I mean, there's even conditioning that I have that I'm not aware of, right? So it just has to be, it just has to be first made aware of. And then we're probably going to face that point of like, some people are just like not into that stuff, I think. Which I'm not, I can't force, like, you can't force self-help on anybody, I don't think. But if you can help people see a connection, right? I think that this being able to make it visible is a huge help, because then that's when people become aware of it. But I don't know, do you run into that problem of like people like kind of finding, I'm wondering where the question comes from, in the sense of like, have you seen certain people that are resistant to this, or are you kind of just brainstorming?
I originally asked the question because as we talked earlier, we were talking about sort of like the things that like all self-help books are so super helpful, but they're sort of missing that one little thing that allows people to see how the human mind actually works.
Mm-hmm.
So my question was referring to like, so what do you think that we as mind coaches do that I guess sort of like awakens people? But there are people that are resistant. You're absolutely right, but they're only resistant because they're programmed. Because they're programmed with this stuff in their brain.
There's a trap to get out of.
And those thoughts
Yeah.
are going on in their head and they're like, no, I don't want to learn this. Nope, it's wrong. But that's all of their programming. So if you are an example and I am an example, then just being near those people would wake them up a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I don't know, it happens. There's a lot of this mind coach thing. I think it's, currently here in 2020, I think it's definitely a new, sort of a new field. I mean, that term probably was not being used 5 years ago. Maybe a good question is kind of, how did you come to call yourself a mind coach? Like, how did you arrive at that? How did you come to that? Did you just make it up, or is there a story behind it?
I have been a very smart child since I was a little girl, like very, very smart, and I was never really liked in high school. I was always called like the crazy weird one. They're like, oh, Kyra, she's crazy. Don't talk to her, she's weird. And I grew up like an angry child, and then I went through a phase where I just sort of like really got into partying. And it got so bad that because I was ignoring everything that I knew deep down in my core, I knew it all. And it was eating away at my soul. And finally I was just like, I'm done. And then I went home and I saw some things in my hometown, and then one day I had opened the book The Secret. Have you read that one?
No, but I'm familiar with the concepts a little bit. Yeah.
A little bit, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
But at 14 pages in, I came across this weird thing on my phone. I'd never seen it before in my life. And it said, build your own course, to be a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. And ever since that day, I have been madly, madly obsessed with helping people, like just curing the human mind. I've been obsessed. Like it's taken over my entire life.
I love that story. And one thing I have to say is that when that music plays in the stadium, Kyra is the one dancing harder than anybody. And if you ask me, that's enough to make a mind coach right there. That level of freedom of expression, right? Now, I want to point out two specific things you said, right? Which is your mind, right? You started to kind of work with your mind. And you were referring to something deep down, like in the soul, right? Deep down that you felt you were neglecting, right? Or you were out of alignment with it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now this theme is something that I keep seeing in the speakers that we've been watching, right? And this question, I even wrote down one of the things is like I need to make a video and a course on like a whole thing of like how to help people find like that uniqueness there. The way that Usher put it, oh man, this was so beautiful today, the way he phrased it, or the way he explained it, is he wanted to make his stage name like Cha-Cha or something, right? And it's funny, right? And then when he started to get famous or something, the manager was like, okay, so what's your name? And he's like, it's Cha-Cha. And the manager's like, yeah, that's not gonna fly. And so then the guy's like, okay, Usher goes, okay, well then what am I going to be called? And the manager's like, well, there aren't many other Ushers out there. Why don't you just go with your name?
Yeah.
Your name Usher, right? And then he was like, and then he had this epiphany, and he said that's when the blinders opened for him. And I feel like that's it too for me, like when you, because the way that he said it was, he's like, I realized that I was the only one of me on this planet. And when he realized that, he's like, the blinders opened, right? So now let's bring this back to this current conversation of you referring to this soul deep down, right? Now, in this video, I've been kind of mentioning mind and soul together, like interchangeably almost. But then that kind of begs the question, like, are they the same thing? Are they different? Like, how do mind and soul work? If you're a mind coach, do you also coach the soul? Like, what is the deal there, you know? But here's one way maybe we could think of, I don't know, we're making this stuff up with this, we're creating this whole field, this whole, which I think is going to help a lot of people. No, I know it will, but maybe we can think of it this way, that the mind is almost like a portal to the soul. I don't know, but the mind is certainly involved. It's like some sort of like intermediary or whatever, right? One image that comes to mind right now is it's almost like a fence that it needs to be crossed in order to like get to the soul or something. That's one image that comes to mind. Another image that I spoke of earlier today is like having this soul or this beingness of, or knowing who you truly are, and having it covered up by these layers to protect you because of negative experiences in life that cause you to like to want to protect that inner soul or your true identity because you didn't want it to be hurt a second time. So you started building all these layers onto it, right? Now we need tools of the mind to drill through those layers and get back to this original thing that was open and exposed as when we were 5 years old, right? 5-year-olds, there we go. When we were 5-year-olds, right?
Yes.
And we were just running around freely, like expressing ourselves, right? Dancing openly, right?
Yes.
So I think it is a journey. It's like, I think, you said it well, of like, it's almost like, okay, we're starting at this point, right? We're a 5-year-old human being here on this planet. Then we go through these experiences in life, and we're gathering this dirt on our vehicle the whole time, right? On the windshield, this dirt is accumulating, and it's no wonder why people don't know where they're going in life, right? And it's like, come on, we need to clear this thing up. You're like, no, I'm cool. I can see where my seat is. I can see the passenger seat. I can see the roof in this car. No, I'm good. You know, I got my nice little safety bubble. I can control the heater. I can choose the music in there. I'm good.
Yeah.
But it's like, bro, wipe off this windshield. Do you see where you're going in life? And they look out the windshield and they're like, oh, wait, where are we? It's like, dude, you just crossed 3 state borders. You don't know where you are. And unfortunately, people wake up in life way too late, and they're 60 years old, 70 or something, and then their car is on the other side of the country.
In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Nice analogy, right? Yes. Yeah, it's in the ocean, there you go.
It's a really good analogy.
It's like, okay, where was your mind coach there? Then, right?
Wait, what?
And then it's like, okay, well, where was your mind coach this whole time? Where you needed the mind. Did I say life coach or mind coach?
You said mind coach.
Mind coach, yeah, the mind coach. The whole reason I came up with mind coach actually was because it was me as a reaction to life coach, because life coach is becoming a very common term, and I kind of had to re-examine, like, wait, when I help people, when they show up to my office, on the weekends for these workshops and stuff, or do the online courses, like what am I actually helping them with? And I'm like, wait a second, I'm actually helping them with their mind, because it's very cognitive. Actually, my approach, I'm sure that, each of us will have to collaborate in the future, because I'm sure we have very different, unique angles that we approach the mind, and subtle differences. But mine is very cognitive, so I like to, and mechanical in that sense. But we've already talked about that. Anyway, so what do you think about this dirt on the windshield? That just came to me. I don't know, but it's like, does that? What's your reaction from your experience in life, your mind coaching or whatever? Does that match what you see in people? Tell me what you see in people, and as you look at the audience at this seminar and things, like what are you seeing?
Well, I work with affirmations. So the words that you're repeating in your mind all day are what you become. So when I see people and I see that they're not exactly where they want to be, I can see what affirmations they need to be saying in their minds.
Yes.
So like, you may have somebody who's super successful. Listen, I'm just saying, nobody wakes up in the morning and they're like, I think I want to be fat. They're like, I've decided, I think I want to be fat. So you may be like super wealthy and like you're doing really good in your business or something like that, but like if you're fat, obviously there's something going on there that you need some help with, So I can see that in people. Or like if say they have a great body, great looking, greatly dressed, but their business isn't exactly where it needs to be, then they're obviously having thoughts in their mind of, I'm not good enough, or I'm not that important, or I would feel greedy, or I don't deserve this, things like that. So when I see people, I can see what affirmations they need to be saying, which is really interesting. And I love what you said about the windshield. I love it because you're like, they're driving in the car and you're like, yo, bro, have you checked your windshield? And they're like, nah, man, I'm good. Like, I'm driving, I got everything right here. And then you're like, no, seriously, like, can you see? Like, because there's a bunch of dirt on your windshield. Like, there's loads of mud. How can you not see this? Let's clear this up for you and let's get you, awakened. Let's get you out of the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and, on your actual route. Mm-hmm. So I loved that. Did that just come to your mind just now? Or yeah? Nice.
Where it came from.
Nice.
Who knows where it came from? Probably came from another part of the country, across 3 state borders.
Divine intelligence.
Anyways, I mean, this whole direction thing is crucial. I mean, we had a very intense moment when we were walking out of John Travolta's thing. I don't want to go into that. We'll do that for another video, because that was some intense stuff,
Yes.
Even some other people, bystanders, who had to ask us. They're like, "Dude, are you guys okay?" Because but we had an analogy metaphor that came up with, had to do with direction. So that's why I'm mentioning it.
Okay.
Right. So, but in any case, we should probably wrap this thing up. And so what you just said about what you can see the affirmations that people are either saying or need to be saying.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing where you and I feel like we're boom aligned right there, because it fits in with my concept of the making the invisible visible, right?
Yes.
The affirmations, right?
Yes.
And that's, to me that is the essence of mind coaching. There, it's like this new field that we're just inventing or whatever. But no, but it is. I mean, the nature of the mind is that it happens very quickly, right? Thoughts can happen in fractions of a second, right?
Yeah.
But it's subjectively experienced, so only the experiencer feels or thinks the thought.
Yes.
And then other people have to just rely on like trying to read the person, their body language or whatever, to kind of figure out what that person is thinking. Unless the person voices it, but sometimes people don't even voice exactly what they're thinking. They kind of voice some sort of like a filtered or socially acceptable version of what they're actually thinking. So it takes some skill, to know what's going on in people's minds. And so that's exactly what I think when you say like you see people's affirmations, like exactly, because it's a thought, and it could be an image or a video in their mind, but let's just call it a thought, right? Some sort of internal stimuli, right? But you're right, they don't wake up thinking like, hell yeah, I want to be fat today, right? Like that's not the affirmation, right? So something else though is happening, something is occurring, and if you as a mind coach or me as a mind coach, if we're able to see that happening, hidden, then I think it unlocks a lot. But so I think the future's bright for this field. I mean, if people, let's keep it at this. We'll have a lot more to say in the future, I think. In the meantime, though, until the next video, if people want to get follow your stuff, learn how to make fishy faces, or dance like a pro, how do they reach you? There you go.
So you guys can reach me on my Instagram, Kyra Carlin, KYRACARLIN_. That's where you'll probably reach me the most, or you can reach me on my email, which is contactme.kdc@gmail.com. If you want to reprogram, if you want your own personalized, customized affirmation sheets, it's what I live for. I love that. I can see what's going on in your mind. Not cocky, but very, very confident that I can help you. So that's how you can reach me.
Straight up. And all my stuff is under the name Existence First. So if you go to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's and the website existencefirst.com. YouTube is Existence First, and you'll find my stuff. I'm Robert Nelson.
I'm Kyra Carlin.
Thanks for watching.